Right, this is the first video and of kind of this word art that we're going to do, a word GIF. So I'm going to put in new file and click on that. And then I want it to be 600 by 600. So you may have to do here 600, 600, and then I want the resolution to be 72, pretty low res, which is a feature of GIFs. And so I'm going to go into there. That's what I've got. Here's my layers over here. And my first layer is down here. So what I'm going to do is I highlight my first layer, and then do you see this half, the kind of this circle, half and half? I'm going to click on that. Then I'm going to go to solid color, and then I'm going to be picking kind of a medium blue. So on this kind of bar here, I kind of show the colors that I want to be in. So I'm going to go here. And then I'm going to pick a color like that, okay? So that is my first layer, okay? Now I'm going to just write the word, and the word is crack. So we're going to eventually crack this word. So I'm going to come over here to my T tool here in my toolkit, and I'm going to click on here, okay? And then I am going to change this to impact. And then I'm going to change this to 200. And I want to be all caps. So it's crack like that. Okay. So I'm done. I'm going to come up here to my move tool, which is at the very top. And I'm going to move it here in the middle. Okay. So that's my very first job here. Okay, so I've got that. So look over here in the layers. I have crack, the first text highlighted. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go in the box where the T is, and I'm going to drag it down to the plus sign, and it's going to change it, right? So now this says crack still. So I'm going to do crack 1. Okay. And press enter. And there's something I need to do with this text here. I need to rasterize it. So I need to turn it into a vector. So I'm going to right click it. And then I'm going to come down here to rasterize type. Okay. So I forgot this a couple times and I couldn't figure out what I'd done wrong, and that was it. So now this type is a vector. And did you see how in the layers this changed? Now there's no background in this layer, okay? So that's the first thing that I'm going to do. The second thing I'm going to do is now that's my first one, and I'm going to make another layer. So I'm going to go into the box and come down to the plus, and then I'm going to double click on here, and I'm going to do crack 2. And this is kind of important. I'm going to undo these other ones. So I'm only seeing crack 2, okay? So one of the things that I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw an area that I want to move away. So I'm only in this one layer, and the visibility is off on these other ones. I'm going to come over here to this tool, and I'm going to click on this polygonal lasso tool, okay? It may look like at first the selection brush to you, but if you click on it and come down here, it's the polygonal lasso tool, okay? So I'm gonna make my first crack here. And I feel like this tool is a little hard to use. You have to click and release, and then it draws like that. So this is where my crack is gonna be. Then I have to go back to the original, and then it goes like that, okay? Now I'm going to come back over here to the move tool, click on it, and then I'm going to do Control T transform, okay? Now when I move this, I can move it over, and then to make it look a little bit better, I want you to see what happens to my cursor. When I go past this, it turns into kind of a curved tool. And then I'm going to rotate it slightly. Okay, and then I might just move this back a little bit so it's not quite so. Okay, so that, and then I have to press done and deselect. So this is what it looks like now, kind of cool. So now I'm going to come back to my layers, click on the box, take it down to the plus, and then I'm going to undo that. I'm going to call this crack 3. Okay. And I'm going to make a crack on the other side. Okay. So I've got my polygonal tool and this only works because the text is rasterized. It's turned into a vector. So I'm going to click on my movement, Control T for transform, and then I'm going to move this over. And then I'm going to also rotate it by taking my cursor outside of the box until it turns into a kind of an arrow like that. And you can see, so my cracks all start small and get bigger. So that's why I rotate it so it looks like that. And then I do done. Awesome. And now I take my box and my layers, go down to my plus, get rid of my visibility. I'm in crack 3, which I need to change into crack 4. Okay. And now I'm going to do one in the middle. So I take my polygonal tool and I make it right there. Okay, move tool, Control T. And I'm going to just make this over just a tiny bit. Okay. And again, I'm going to rotate it because I want it to be smaller at the top. Done. Deselect. And then I come into here, the box, make a new thing, take off the visibility, go into crack 4, do crack 5, click, okay, and then get my polygonal tool. And here it's a little tough. I'm going to have to go right into that channel because I want to make it bigger. So I'm going to just really work hard here to do this. Yeah. Okay. Move tool, Control T. And then I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger and skew it and done. Deselect. Okay. So I have cracked my letters. Okay. So that is enough for the first video here.